Ladies and gentlemen, students and faculty, welcome to the first in the Common Thread series of modules on cultural inclusion. Each module is designed to build greater respect for the people that we work with every day, to acknowledge and appreciate differences, to recognize and counter biases, whether conscious or otherwise, and make UAB a campus where everyone feels like it's a place where they can have a voice and feel like they belong. Module A, Building Belonging, Fostering a Place of Inclusion. We all want to belong. It's a primal, fundamental, basic human need, and one of the common threads that knits humanity together. So what are the elements of belonging? And how do these essential components of social identity and self-worth manifest themselves? To belong is to feel included, welcomed, valued, accepted, and appreciated. It's being asked to participate. It's about being listened to. Whether we intend to or not, we can leave others feeling excluded. Let me give you some examples. These quotes come from actual UAB students and employees. A doctor once told me that working with patients who were gay was just something you have to deal with. It made me feel like the only way to be accepted was to identify as a heterosexual. Want to feel truly irrelevant in a male-dominated field? Don't just be a woman, be an aging woman. I've worked hard and had a very successful career. Despite this, a colleague once told me, "It doesn't matter what you've accomplished, you'll never be seen as anything but an affirmative action hire." Social rejection elicits the same brain response as physical pain. Mentally, it's experienced the same way. In fact, social rejection not only impacts your emotions, it affects your cognition and even your physical health by adversely impacting your immune system. As far as your brain is concerned, a broken relationship isn't that different than a broken arm. For a start, you will miss the depth of insight and fresh perspective that an inclusive environment brings with it. Fewer new ideas and innovations that are brought forward. There's also no team ethos. Morale plummets, productivity nosedives, absenteeism increases, and disillusionment sets in as groups divide into camps riven with conflicts and grudges. And that in turn leads to higher turnover and the time-consuming and costly process of finding and onboarding and training new hires. Dropout rates among ethnic and racial minority students are far higher when they fail to experience a sense of belonging. What's important to remember here is that we're not just talking about diversity. We're talking here about building inclusive workplaces where anyone and everyone feels like they have a voice. Diversity, inclusion, inclusion, diversity. What's the difference? Diversity is who, inclusion is who gets to play. Inclusion is the how, the set of behaviors that welcome and embrace each individual. Simply focusing on numerical diversity can generate resentment among the majority and cause members of minority populations to be reluctant to sponsor or mentor people of their own race or gender for fear of being seen as being biased. As one of the only minorities in my department, I often feel like I'm representing a whole people group. It's exhausting. In an environment hostile to inclusion, people will hide who they are, downplay that identity, and modify their personality and behavior to fit in. The formal term for this is cultural suicide. Cultural suicide is the act of severing oneself from one's cultural heritage to blend in this case, with a campus community or the workplace. Denying or obscuring one's cultural life experiences can result in a loss of sense of self, harming that individual's ability to function well or even to feel like a worthwhile human being. Working in an environment where you feel that you're not respected as a person makes you feel worthless. But inclusivity doesn't just benefit the individual. Our institution's future success depends on it. A wealth of empirical data supports the reality that organizations that embrace inclusion, not only in terms of race, gender, age, faith, and orientation, but also in terms of diversity, of thought and experience, are far more successful than those who don't. The reasons are obvious. Inclusive environments that foster a diversity of perspectives are inevitably more expansive in their insight, more innovative in their ideas, and more creative in their problem solving. This simply makes sense. If all of the people at the table have similar backgrounds and life experiences, they are more likely to have similar ideas and perspectives.